With the recent acquisition of Josh Giddey, does this spell the end for Lonzo Ball? And could the Chicago Bulls potentially be looking to tank for the 2025 NBA Draft? This is Rico Greenhowe, and this is another episode of Bulls Digest. And before we jump into it, want to let you know that 75.9% of you guys that watch the videos are not subscribed to the channel. So make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with the latest news and happenings around your Chicago Bulls. Without further ado, let's jump into the first topic of the day, which is Bulls moving on from Lonzo Ball, guys. All right, guys. So look, we just acquired a point guard in Josh Giddey, and he is a young point guard who is still on his rookie deal. When we bring up the numbers, you're going to see that Lonzo and Giddey are perhaps similar in the numbers as far as what they are able to do from a scoring standpoint and an assist standpoint, guys. And even really, I think Giddey, you could argue, might be in somewhat a better rebounder. I mean, I think he's right up there with triple doubles. I know Lonzo Ball has been there too, but I think that Giddey is a very underrated rebounder as a guard, guys. But anyhow, there is the speculation that this could be it for Lonzo Ball. I know that we've invested a lot of time into Lonzo Ball. There was no decision being made. We talked about the fact that we were going to be on the books for a lot of money for Lonzo Ball in one season, and this was banking a lot on a player possibly coming back that may never be the same. If you've been paying attention to his podcast, one of his promotional things about his podcast is he was giving us a health update. Lastly, he left off saying that he expected to be in uniform and ready to go for the Chicago Bulls for the season opener. You've been seeing reports about him not necessarily being ready for 5-on-5 action till right around training camp, or excuse me, a little bit before. And you've also probably been seeing the hype videos for Lonzo Ball, the dunking and the cutting and all this, the treadmill work, all that. But, you know, the fact remains, guys, that I've said this all along, that the Chicago Bulls are a reactive franchise. They're always reacting off of their player moves. Like, they're not the ones that are proactive. You know, with the difference with this Alex Caruso deal is that was a proactive move, guys. Like, we were on an expiring contract with Alex Caruso, and we were either going to be set to pay Alex Caruso a lot of money for his services, in which he may never get to that performance on the court, either, you know, with injuries or the fact that he may not have that type of career season again. Now, it's tough that we didn't get any more assets out of that, but the Chicago Bulls proactively started to move in the right direction. And I think that this is essentially what this is signifying with Lonzo Ball. So what I'm thinking is I think that this is, you know, the writing on the wall for Lonzo Ball. I'm thinking at best, you know, the Chicago Bulls can do really, there's two different situations, guys, to really go into with Lonzo Ball. I think one, they can go ahead and they can buy him out. They could outright waive him, or they could do what they call a waive and stretch, which I believe this was explained beautifully by Will Goblet of the CHGO podcast. And he talks about the fact that they would essentially pay Lonzo, I think, $12 million for 3 years. So I think that's a terrific piece. If you go to that CHGO, their website or whatever, and read his article, I think he lays it out terrifically. But I think that this essentially is it. And I'm bringing up today's article, and this is an article that you can find on CBS, guys. And it talks about the grade about, you know, between OKC and Chicago Bulls, and I think it gave Chicago, I believe, a C-, and I believe it gave OKC an A+ for the deal. But it talks about Giddey and what this means for Lonzo Ball. So let me go ahead and quickly bring that up for you guys. But this is, again, Darnell Mayberry. He writes for The Athletic, and he essentially writes that Giddey's acquisition further clouds the Bulls' plans for recovering the point guard Lonzo Ball, who hasn't played since January 2022. We pretty much know that. And, you know, it's just not likable, or excuse me, it's unlikely that essentially with Giddey, you're not getting insurance for Ball if he doesn't return. And I'm thinking even return back to form. And it talks about a trade or a buyout is probably likely here. And so, look, I totally agree with that. And even Woj is on the same take as this writer here for The Athletic. I mean, initially when the deal broke yesterday, he talks about the fact that, look, it looks like Chicago had been exploring finding a way to get somebody that's similar to what Lonzo Ball does. And they were feeling that the optimism around getting Giddey is that now you get him in a situation where he's away from Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and he can possibly go ahead and reach his full potential. And so, I think that essentially what they're saying here is like, look, man, we were looking to get a guy that does what Lonzo Ball does. And, with AK coming over from Denver, look, if he was there, which I think he was when Jamal Murray and the Joker were there, clearly he's thinking that he has to start with a point guard. I think that's why he put so much emphasis on Lonzo and perhaps why we were so hot with Lonzo when he was healthy. So I think that AK is essentially trying to go ahead and reload up here, get him a point guard. That's why I think that they're probably going to target a center. I think he's going to try to go out here and find him, a stat stuffer in the box score to help to go along with Giddey. I just have to think that he's going to start to now look at athletic wings and then also to a center that is a pretty much do-it-all kind of center. So I just think that that's where that's going. And in regards to Lonzo Ball, look, I love Lonzo. Have had a chance to watch him since his rookie year. I watched him when he started in the summer league. So I've seen him since then, watched a lot of his games at UCLA, watched a lot of his games in LA, certainly have followed him with the Chicago Bulls. I just think that knee injury is gruesome. And I'm just hoping for the young man that he's able to at least come back like a Sean Livingston type of player. And Sean Livingston, again, is a guy that played for the Golden State Warriors. He turned into a great mid-range shooter. He could also assist and he could lock up on the other end. I think that that's what Lonzo is going to have to be, more of a specialist. He can still pass the ball at a high level. Could he still defend at a pretty good level? And it doesn't necessarily have to be on the ball. Can he be a good off the ball defender, play a lot of passing lanes, and not necessarily worry about being so shifty, but being able to make a move and then getting to his spot and then knocking shots down. I think that would be the most successful situation for Lonzo. It's just unfortunate that I don't know if the Bulls are going to build that type of situation here, which is why I think that it would probably be favorable for him to actually end up going, guys. And so as we look at the end, you're going to see here at his stats that Lonzo has averaging 13 points a game, and essentially you're looking at his assists at 5 assists a game. When you look at Giddey's numbers, you're going to see that it is pretty similar. I think he had 12 and 6 this year. So there is not going to be a whole bunch of drop off with the Giddey and the Lonzo Ball situation. So that's my thoughts there, which leads me to the next point of the video. Are the Bulls looking to tank? All right, guys, and so this was pretty interesting. This is at the back half of that article, and I just have to bring it up for you guys, and I thought it was quite interesting. And initially, I should say that, or I would say, in my opinion, I'm hoping that the Bulls do not tank, considering that if you look at their draft history, they have not been too good with it. And to bank on the fact that they are going to be able to come up big in not this year's draft, but the next season's draft would be very ridiculous, guys. And so I don't like this, but this is a good point because I will drive this point, guys. Like, even though we got Giddey, and even though Giddey, there's a path, a serious path for Giddey to be good, and a serious path for Giddey to be a fit, and a serious path for the Bulls to move in the right direction. That means nothing if management doesn't finish the job and continue to build around him. What do I mean by that? You're going to have to go out there and get him some athleticism that's going to run with him. The whole reason Giddey would be here to replace Lonzo Ball is to get you back to a faster pace, which is what we played with Lonzo and why I believe we were successful. Not only were we a good defensive team, but our offense was not just a half-court team, guys. And so, look, Giddey is not going to be able to save us. Neither is Kobe White and Giddey. Like, that whole combination along with Dosunmu, like, they need more pieces. That's why I'm thinking you have to go out there and get a Oubre Jr. in a sign and trade, if it's possible with Philly. Just throwing it out there. Athletic wing that can defend, can shoot, will fill the lane, will run. That's why you go out and get a guy like John Collins over here from Utah. A guy that is a lob threat. He can step out and stretch the floor, right? He is going to be able to essentially be unlocked with a good passer. You saw that with Trae Young. You need guys like Jordan Clarkson out there that can shoot jumpers. And I'm just throwing his name out, even though he's probably going to sign with the Kings. But we need players like a Malik Monk who can step up and knock down shots. Perhaps that might be a Buddy Hield. I'm just throwing that out there. But these are things that the Chicago Bulls are actively going to have to do. Otherwise, it looks like that perhaps they might be heading to a tank, guys. And so, look, this is what it had to say here. It's clearly saying that he's gotten better as a three-point shooter. But here's what it's talking about with the Bulls in the worst or the short term here is that the Chicago owes its top 10 protected first-round pick in a loaded 2025 NBA draft to the Spurs. Thanks to the DeMar DeRozan trade, it is now likely the Bulls keep that pick and perhaps set up a tank for one of next year's elite prospects, right? And so, look, that's what they're essentially saying, guys. Like, even though we have Giddey, there is a chance that the Bulls would try to go ahead and tank. I hope they do not. Look, that's going to be tough for me. I mean, going to the United Center to see them tank would be tough. So, I mean, that's my thoughts there, guys. I mean, definitely let me know what you guys are thinking here. And to leave off with Giddey and the whole thing where people might be concerned about Lonzo heading out and Giddey coming in, guys, I just put up Lonzo's numbers. Look at this. I mean, they're essentially similar, guys. Look, you're getting the 12 points a game. You're getting the 4.8 assists a game. I know it was a down year for him, but look what he's averaged the first couple seasons. So right around where Lonzo is. And then you have to love, again, I talked about his rebounding numbers, guys. Right around 6-7 rebounds a game, guys. This guy's might be one of the best rebounders at the guard position, and you have to love his game history. 76, 80 games played, even 54 games. I think you got to play 50 plus or whatever to be eligible for the award. So I like that a lot, guys, with this. And so I know we talked about a lot, but just going back, I think that, yes, we do get rid of Lonzo Ball. B, we do not tank. And I think that there is a chance, if management moves in the right direction, they can actually get us a winning product on the court that is moving further. I'm not saying that they're going to win the Eastern Conference. I'm not saying that they're going to compete for a world championship. All I'm saying is they can start to move us forward, guys. And perhaps we start to get into the era of the young Bulls, right? Remember when we had the Ben Gordon, the Kirk Heinrich, we just got Joakim Noah, we got Dang. Like, perhaps, hopefully, we're starting to shift towards that, and then we can shift towards that next piece where we get into that Jimmy Butler, Derrick Rose phase, healthy Jimmy Butler, healthy Derrick Rose phase, where in my mind, I seriously believe if the refs would have called that technical foul on Cleveland for not having a timeout, I think the Chicago Bulls would have advanced perhaps maybe to the NBA Finals. That's just my thoughts. But anyhow, guys, what do you guys think? Should the Bulls tank? Do you believe that Giddey is the replacement for Lonzo Ball? And even though we don't know what we're doing and we could be headed towards the patent merry-go-round situation, I'm saying go Bulls. I love you guys. I'll see you on the next one. Peace, peace, peace.